Why should I leave the country when my core values are in line with the American Constitution? Moreover, American imperialism is misrepresented to us in early education. The United States and the CIA have been involved in dozens of coups, colonial violence, regime change interventions since the early 20th century. Key ones include Iran and Guatemala in the 1950s, the Congo, Vietnam, Brazil, the failed attempt to overthrow Castro in Cuba, the Bay of Pigs, in the 1960s, Chile in 1973, etc. The definition of terrorism by the UN under Security Council Resolution 1566 includes intentional violent acts against civilians and provoking terror, in which case, with all the stated events, America did. The argument can be made that America, by killing millions of civilians during their military interventions, has committed the highest amount of war crimes of any nation. But scrutinizing America's terrorism doesn't make me hate the foundational values of America. It means I don't like needless and endless war. Claiming someone like me is anti-American for endorsing Medicare for all Americans and for being anti-war and a believer in the Constitution is ironic. Matter of fact, being anti-American, by definition, would be anyone who would prescribe to the opposite, those who are against the Constitution. What I consider to be anti-American is violating the 14th Amendment by attempting to end birthright citizenship. Anti-American is starting an offensive war with Venezuela and illegally abducting the president, going against congressional approval, which goes against the War Powers Act, Article 1 of Section 8. Anti-American is going against Section 3 of the 14th Amendment by engaging in an insurrection against the United States government. Anti-American is violating Article 1, Section 9, Clause 7 of the Appropriations Clause, violating the Impoundment Control Act by pausing congressionally approved funds. Anti-American is mass deporting without due process, violating the 5th Amendment. Anti-American is violating the 4th Amendment by allowing ICE agents to enter homes against homeowners' will without a valid judicial search warrant. Anti-American is consistently challenging the freedom of speech, the freedom of press, and the freedom of assembly, going against First Amendment rights. What I consider anti-American is saying you're going to end an entire civilization of 94 million people. But all of these are violations or anti-constitutional acts that Donald Trump has either committed or attempted. Outside of outright ignoring Congress, he has also completely disregarded judges' orders. This is anti-American. When you say that someone like me should leave the country, or that I hate America for just being law-abiding and living my life by the Constitution, and wanting a better life for each working and job-seeking American, just remember that the history books will be written, and Donald Trump and the Maga movement will be documented as anti-democratic and anti-constitutional. Look, I want you to have healthcare, and you want me to leave the country. But that's the difference between Maga and a leftist such as myself. See, I don't hate America, but it seems you do.